You are listening to Pagan Artist Spotlight on the Prairie Land Radio Network and the Podbean Podcast Network.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a edition of Iowa Pagan News on the Prairie Land Radio Network. And as always, I want to say thank you to my good friend Sue Balashek, who you just got done listening to. She's between her and Ginger Ackley. They both had chipped in to help make some intros for us here at Iowa Pagan News. So it's very much appreciated. This afternoon, we are joined by my special guests, the members of Spriggan Mist.
Hello.
We got Baz, we got
Howdy.
Neil, and let's see, who else we got today?
Maxine.
And Maxine. Very good. All right, welcome, guys. Thank you for taking time out because I know it's 7:00 your time. So thank you for taking time out this evening to join me.
No problem at all. We're
All
very
right,
thrilled.
now, how long has Spriggan Mist been together?
Oh, in 4 days, it will be our 13th birthday.
Yeah.
13 years.
Unlucky for some.
13. It's the only members from that original lineup are Maxine and myself, though. It was Maxine's brainchild, really, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, initially it started out with just sort of kind of putting a few tunes together. And then you sort of put them up on, do you remember MySpace?
Oh,
A
wow.
long time ago, we started putting up the stuff on MySpace, and a lady from Cornwall saw us, Karen Kay, and she said, "Oh, I really like your music, and I'd love you to play at the Three Wishes Ferry Festival." At which point, Baz and I said, "Oh, that'd be amazing!" And then we looked at each other and realised that there was only two of us playing about 15 different instruments, so we thought we'd better get some band members. So we then advertised, and that's how Spriggan Mist came around initially.
Very cool. It's nice to know that you've got excellent sound, because I was listening to a couple of videos that Baz sent over that we're going to be playing later on here. And I got to say that every group that I listen to has their own unique sound. And I can definitely say that for you folks as well, because I love the sound and the stories that your music tells.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so who is the main one who's been doing the writing for the songs that you've been coming up with?
I think in the beginning it was Max. It was definitely you, wasn't it, Max? I think you've written the bulk of songs, but as time's gone on, I wrote a few. And this latest album, I mean, Neil's been with us since
17, was it?
16.
16. Oh, my word.
Yeah, it's more than that.
Oh,
You've been
my
with us
word.
longer than that. So Neil kind of came in on the Portal album was, I would say, 50-50 written.
Yeah.
And obviously you added a lot of arrangement to that, didn't you? But the songs were there. Whereas this is the first album, studio album, because obviously we had lockdown, which put us back a lot. This is the first one that Neil's actually brought 3 songs to the band. So on this album, it's very eclectic. 4 out of 5 of us have written stuff, but it's in the main in this album. It's Max and Neil that have written the most, I suppose.
Excellent. So basically, what's been the main inspiration for most of your music?
I think at the very beginning, it was literally tunes that I'd had playing around. So I'm a really big fan of Mike Oldfield, and over the years, obviously listened to him a lot and grew up with that kind of sort of sound instrumentation going around in my head and thinking about kind of those kind of tunes. And then that was the first kind of songs that I started to put down. I didn't really have any lyrics, but then looking at my very early writing, it was the most of the inspiration was around my kind of pagan journey, I guess. looking at kind of how I was going through and finding new things and experiencing new things, and then having our children. So there's a song about my son Aaron on one of the albums called Indigo Child. There's another song about my daughter, which is Fairy Dust. I have to think of the name.
So many songs.
And so those were kind of, key moments in life and sort of inspiration. But as time's gone on, we've started to actually produce songs that are a bit more around, sort of some fantasy. So I've obviously Isambard the Mechanical Dragon is a storyline that just came into my head in a dream, and I said to the band, what about this? And they were like, wow, that's a great idea, come on, let's go for it. So that's where we'd be sort of on, and Neil picked up the second song, Isambard's Lair, from that, really.
Yeah, I was inspired to write Lair because of Mechanical Dragon.
So would you say that most all of you have a similar spiritual path?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Definitely not.
I'm the token Christian, which is amuses the rest of the band no end.
But do you know what? He says he's the token Christian. He's probably more spiritual than most of us.
Yeah.
If I'm to be honest with you.
Don't Christians be spiritual?
And he's the first one to get up maypole dancing. I was well impressed.
I think he's more pagan than we are.
Oh yeah.
No, I mean, Faye is definitely pagan, isn't she?
Yeah.
Lead singer. She. I mean, she's been described as the
pagan queen.
The pagan queen.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
Nice.
But I kind of float between paganism and Taoism. Maxine obviously she's a witch, very much a witch.
Witch.
But I think although it's important, the spiritual part of Spriggan Mist, it's not the most important for me.
Right.
I think it crossovers genres.
It definitely does now.
I mean, even there's one song that is completely nothing about paganism, but could be. You could take it that way, and that was one that Neil wrote.
Yeah.
But it definitely isn't about that.
And we won't tell you what
it is about. But it's.
And even Zombie Nation, that was
Zombie
a complete
Nation.
political statement, that song. And people probably don't even realise what it's about until they saw a picture of Theresa May on the screen and they didn't realise. But there's lots of different agendas and lots of different kind of messages running through a number of the stories. But one of the themes that we did always keep was the sort of songs around the folklore and around some of the ghost stories. So we did Ghostly Tales, and we've done Ghostly Tales Live, and all of those stories have been around tales that we've heard of or we've researched in the local areas and expanded now a little bit further.
Nice. Okay, so during your upbringing, did you all have musical interests?
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting
very much
one.
so.
Yeah.
From a very early age for me. Yes, I started playing guitar when I was about 10 years old. And before then, I used to tinkle on my mum's piano from about the age of 3 or 4. I never took it up seriously, but I took up the guitar about 10. Yeah, so it's always been with me, really.
I played recorder since I was, 4 or something like that. And then picked up the guitar again. When I was 10, I started guitar. But then quickly went on to start playing the clarinet and
blowy
saxophone
things.
And blowy things is my thing really. And sort of came back to the guitar later on in my sort of late teens, early 20s really. And I know Faye's been brought up in a complete musical household as well.
Yeah.
And you, Baz?
No, see, I've got very different. Although,
well, your dad could sing a bit, couldn't he?
Yeah, my dad could sing, and my grandfather was. My family are from Malta, and my grandfather was in a swing band back in the 50s and 60s.
That's no mean feat either.
So he used to play all over, but I didn't really take up. I've always loved music, but I didn't really take up music until 20 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And that was because Max and I used to compete at a high level in kickboxing, and that we lived slept, ate, competition, and then when children came along, we decided we would hang the gloves up, and we had a lot of sort of spare time at home. So Maxine said, right, dropped me a bass, said, play this, and taught me. I remember the first song, With or Without You by U2. Really simple.
Nice
yeah,
song.
really simple. And I was hooked from there onwards. So yeah, I came very late into it, to be honest with you. And just on a caveat of that, Maxine is actually fighting again in 2 weeks, so she's going back to fighting.
Wow.
So she's going to enter the veterans competition. But I think that's a bit silly.
I'm supporting my daughter, who's going to be fighting for the first time, so it's a bit of support, really.
You like fighting? End of.
So basically like mother like daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, over the last couple of years, I know that everybody has been grounded and quarantined for last couple of years now. What has the band been doing during that time? Have you been writing new stuff? And
Yes.
Yeah. It was a bit difficult for us. I mean, obviously, we do have a studio next door, but obviously because of lockdown, we couldn't have the other band members. They weren't from the same household.
Mhm.
So Max and I and Aaron, our son, who's our soundy, as well as a very good musician, we did a series of live streams playing Spriggan Mist songs, some of Aaron's songs, doing some unusual covers.
Did some nice videos where Neil managed to
then
play
we did a video where we're performing, and then Neil performed at his house, and we just merged the two together. So
it wasn't live, but
the performances were live. So that was quite fun. And we also did Spriggan Mist TV, which was hilarious to do. Yeah. That was good fun. And do you know what? It's the one, I know the whole pandemic and the lockdown was a terrible, terrible thing. And, lots of people died, and it can never, it seems weird looking back in a nostalgic way. But I have to say, I think those memories of doing Spriggan Mist TV are going to live for a long time. We had such fun doing it. And the outtakes are hilarious, some of the things and it did stretch us a little bit as well, because we were doing covers of different songs, and
I did sort of famous solos of famous guitarists.
People voted, asked you to do so.
Yeah.
So it was just to keep the interaction going with the Sprigganista, our following.
Yeah.
And then we did some full band lockdown gigs, didn't we?
And then we did some full band lockdown
when
gigs.
things had relaxed a little bit, we could get together.
Yeah.
We turned the garden into a stage, didn't we? And did a live gig like that as well.
But the thing was that no one could hear us because it was all on earphones, and it was a bit crazy to be in the so-called audience.
Yeah. So our neighbours,
we linked up with Fantasy Forest, didn't we?
We did.
We did a live one, stream to Fantasy Forest.
Nice. So now, what exact area are you in?
Bracknell in Berkshire, so it's near Windsor, not far from Windsor Castle.
Okay.
Yeah, we're about 26 miles from London, west of London.
Gotcha. I was saying, during the time when you were talking about looking back and losing a bunch of people and whatnot, a artist from I think he's over in your area. I'm not sure if he's from the London area or if he's from Ireland, but Nathan Carter released a song during that time, and he had joined forces with several other groups as well, and basically did their own version of "May the Road Rise."
Okay.
Oh, nice.
And it's a really fantastic. It's really well done, and basically everybody had to do it from their homes, except for Nathan and his guys. They were outside, but it was a really fantastic song.
Oh, brilliant!
I think
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah, basically it's called May the Road Rise, a New Journey, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have a look at that.
Mm-hmm. It is really well done. Now, like I said, we've got a couple of videos that we're going to be playing yet today, and the two of them that Baz sent over to me. Let's see. The first one is going to wind up being, looks like the live at a Spriggan Dance.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the reason I sent that one to you, because obviously the new album, there's very few videos of us playing them live with really good audio. I want to make sure, but I chose the two that we've got today because they do actually appear on the album, although they're not brand new songs. The Spriggan Dance was on our very first album back in 2010, but it has changed beyond recognition since. It's basically telling you what a Spriggan is, to be honest, and
what happens to you
and what happens
if you disrespect
if you disrespect one.
Excellent. Okay, we're going to take a listen to this, and then we'll get on. Then we've got one more we're going to get to, and we'll continue on with our conversation with Spriggan Mist.
Did you make the Spriggan dance? Trip your hat was not by chance. Took no care and disrespected his sacred ground. Be sure of the path you choose. Spriggans watch your every move. If far from the line you stray, there is a price to pay. Sand of all bones will be saved. Spriggans guard our sacred graves. All that disrespect this place. Feel the Spriggans wrath. Each time that you can't resist, you'll find you're lost in Spriggan Mist. So bow your head and take your place. Join the Spriggan dance. Did you make the Spriggan dance? That trip you had was not by chance. Took no care and disrespected his sacred ground. Yeah! Each time that you can't resist, you'll find you're lost in Spriggan Mist. So bow your head and take your place to join the Spriggan dance. Okay, Enchanted Market, this is where we go absolutely mental. Are you ready to go mental? Babe is getting down to go mental.
I'll tell you what, Maxine, you play a mean saxophone. That was an excellent song. There are times that I kind of wish that I was over in your neck of the woods, because there is so much going on with bands and pagan groups that one of these days I am going to be traveling over into your neck of the woods so that I can connect up with a lot of you folks.
That'll be
Brilliant.
really cool.
Lovely to see you.
Okay, now let's see, what do we got here going on here? Tell you what, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to hear from our sponsors, and then we'll be back with more with Spriggan Mist. Don't go nowhere. We're going to be right back right after this.
I just walked into this coffee shop. You'll never guess what I found. All the help is deeply engrossed in metaphysical times. You should too. I'm at the Egyptian, 475 Park Avenue in Idaho Falls, Idaho. You get your very own copy for free, and we're open till 10.
Sister Moon, Apothecary and More is a collaboration of local island witches bringing you handcrafted tools for ritual, amazing apothecary, custom vinyl work, merchandise, and so much more. But we are not just an online store. We are a sisterhood, a platform, and a voice for everything that is magical. Join us for our famous Tarot Tuesdays from 11 to 4 Eastern Standard Time for a discounted reading with our amazing in-house intuitive reader and priestess, Wolf Spirit Energy, Beverly Oberlin. You can find us on Facebook at Sister Moon Store or on the web at sistermoon.shop. So fly on over and stop in for a spell.
Okay, we are back with the members of Spriggan Mist, and we've got a couple of comments here. Looks like we got one from Trish. She said the last Enchanted Market seems like so long ago.
Yeah, it
Oh
does.
yes, it is. Yeah,
It was. That was February 2020. We just got it in before lockdown,
yeah.
and it turned out to be the last one.
Yep.
Yeah, Trish was there.
Yep. And it looks like we also got Angie chiming in, so that she must have been there as well.
Yeah.
Angie was there, and Angie hasn't missed a CD launch of Spriggan Mist since 2012. She's been at all of them. Soul Retriever, Ghosty Tales. In fact, she hosted one of them with her husband Duncan. I think she hosted two, actually.
Yeah.
Because Myths and Legends was down there as well.
And Dunk, who does he play in Ghosty Tales?
Oh yeah. See, when we do Ghosty Tales, we have storytellers come in, and there's some little sketches. It's a real sort of everything is meld together with all the music. And Dunk, Angie's husband, he plays Claude Duval, the gentleman highwayman that all the girls swooned after. Yeah. So yeah, they're very familiar with the band.
Yep.
Nice. So now with things starting to take off again, are you looking forward to festival season this year?
Yeah,
so
definitely.
much so. Absolutely. Yeah.
Our fortunes have taken our directions changed a little bit. We before lockdown, we got to play HRH, which is a big prog festival. HRH Prog, a big prog festival in the Britain, but unfortunately, it got cancelled. So we waited, and it got rescheduled. It got rescheduled to April the 3rd. We were on, and it had bands like Focus, Wishbone Ash,
Rick
Wakeman, and there was us. And we didn't know what to expect because, and I don't think the audience did either. And out comes Faye with her horns and all that.
The Pagan Queen.
The Pagan Queen.
Yeah. And
we just went down really, really well. And lots of doors have opened for us. Lots of festivals that mainstream festivals that a pagan band wouldn't get on. All of a sudden, they've opened to us. So although we still obviously treasure our pagan roots and our pagan following, the band's opened up to a whole new genre, if you like,
Audience.
a whole new audience, and that's really, really cool. Really cool.
I was to say, now when you're out playing, say like at local festivals or even local clubs, bars, whatnot, I was to say, I would guess that a lot of the people over there would be accepting of your style of music, no matter where you play.
Yeah, that seems to be the case.
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. And and we still even sort of celebrate, around solstice time we'll put in a solstice song, and around Ostara we'll sing or play Ostara. We've got various songs that we do play. We also have a great song for Krampus night, and we always make sure we sort of get those songs in. And actually it's really good just to kind of tell people why we're doing it and educate people along the way, and it's really
Absolutely
really well accepted.
The non-pagan crowd love it because it's not, even if they're not spiritual, it's part of folklore as well.
Oh,
and I think that's really, really important because you need to know about history and folklore and customs, and I think that I don't see it as part of our mission, but I do like that kind of thing to come to the fore in our music and in what we come across.
It's kind of similar to the reception that Omnia gets as well.
Yes, yeah. Omnia have done very similar, obviously in Europe. They play a lot of the fantasy festivals. I think a lot of the German ones as well. And we're possibly not at that kind of level of popularity as Omnia, but there is a similarity in what you're saying, the cross genres. And of course we stray into the steampunk genre as well, and obviously we came out of the pagan folk scene, so it's kind of we've kind of dragged a few people with us from different scenes, and
it's
that's
really
quite
weird
fun.
when it all merges into one, and suddenly you've got people in front of you dressed as witches and steampunk, and Joe in his t-shirt, and it doesn't really matter, and everyone's just having such a fabulous time, and they're all there for the one reason, and that's the music we're playing. And that's when it really hits you that actually this is our audience, and that's fantastic, and we're so grateful.
I would say, because I think I hear the same thing from a lot of the musicians, singers, songwriters, and bands over here, that they have a similar response. Especially now, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to meet up with or listen to Tuatha over here, but they're a Appalachia band, and they also are in the pagan community, but they've also gone mainstream. No matter where they play, and their music that they play, it's well received all along the East Coast, down around the South. So yeah, their music is highly popular as well. So I can just imagine that with no matter what kind of style of music that you're playing, that no matter if they're spiritual or not, I mean, they're going to love your music.
Yeah. We hope so.
All right. Now, so I know that your latest album got released last month, correct?
Yes. Yeah. The 30th of April. So it was only last weekend, really.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I posted up the link for the Spotify where people can find the new album.
That's great.
And that's going to be open.spotify.com/artist. And I'm just going to leave it at that. But people can go back and re-listen to this, and they'll be able to get the link for the Spotify page so that they know where to go to get the new album.
Yeah, cool.
That's great. Thank you.
So, okay, so what was the inspiration for this latest album?
This is a mad dream.
Long story.
It's a bit of a mad dream where I woke up after having had this dream about this dragon that was like Frankenstein's monster, but it wasn't quite a monster, but more of a dragon. And the dragon, it was sort of all made of cogs and copper and wire, hence why the description in him. And he kind of came alive because he was built with crystals inside him, and the crystals gave him life, a life force that they didn't expect him to have. So then he took off and he became his own life force. And when he did that, he didn't quite like all of the kind of Jules Verne type Victorian people standing around and sort of burnt all their top hats off and destroyed their parasols. And off he flew.
And killed them.
Oh, yeah, he killed them. He destroyed them. Well,
No,
destroy normally.
Don't flower him up, Max.
Yeah,
I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it was death and debauchery.
And then he flew off. And, of course, then the story then may go further. But we know he lands in his lair.
Yeah.
But there's a bit more to it. And certainly more stories coming out as we go. But originally, I said, I think it's going to be a concept album. Oh, no. And they said, yeah, let's do a concept album. But because of lockdown, it became very difficult. So we decided that actually we would just introduce some more of the story on each album. So, yeah, watch this space. The Cult of Isambard is coming.
I mean, yeah, in the lair of Isambard, Neil has already alluded to the fact that there are people that want to destroy him, but there are people that absolutely, you know, adore him. So,
Acolytes.
Yeah, that's the word. Yeah.
Yep.
I do listen to your lyrics.
You do. Thank you.
Sometimes. So, yeah, there's a big scope. There's lots of things and lots of twists and turns in the Isambard story.
So that's why it was called Isambard, the Mechanical Dragon. But there are lots of other songs on there with lots of other meanings.
Yeah.
So one of the songs that I wrote, The Old Curiosity Shop, is about our dear old friend Quercus. He won't be grateful we call him old, will he?
Wow.
So his name's John Rivers. He's an amazing witch who runs a stall and runs a shop, and he always knows what you need, even if you didn't know what you need. He seems to have it ready for you when you go in, or when you go near him. And for a long, long time, he lived very close to us, and obviously we used to buy lots of things off him. So again,
that you didn't know you wanted.
Yeah, they didn't know you wanted.
He is just like that, though, isn't it? Or you would say, I would say something to Maxine at home, and then next minute he'd ping a message. Oh, I found this, like a gong. We wanted a gong, didn't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
Didn't tell anybody, and then next minute there he is.
Do you want
a gong?
I think he used hypnotism.
or the
Remember that thing I bought? Oh boy.
The loud hailer as well.
Loud hailer, yeah. So he kind of is in the pagan world. I think probably southeast of England. Everybody knows John. And so when I wrote The Old Curiosity Shop, the lyrics came to me really, really quickly, and it's been a real sort of everybody's loved it, haven't they? Because they know it's about John. Popular. But then Neil's songs are very, very different.
Yeah. I mean, one of my songs, Ancestors, I just got that sense one day of all the people who'd gone before me, and the chance meetings. If these people hadn't met and hadn't loved each other, I wouldn't exist. And that part of me, part of them is in me, and it's so that was that one. That was the inspiration for that one. You're right with that. Am I boring you? Yeah. We won't tell you what Remember Days about.
No.
It's one of those songs that has got a meaning, but it's also a song that people can have their own attribute their own meaning to it.
Yeah.
And of course, Lair was very much influenced by the Isambard tale. So yeah.
So there is a happy song on the album, and everyone says, "Oh, this is the happy song." It's called "Sunny Days," and it was, again, it is happy, but I don't really write happy songs. They've always got to have a bit of sadness in them somewhere. And actually, that song was written for a dear friend who committed suicide, and it was all of the things that I could think of that had I been able to say to her or remind her of, maybe she wouldn't have chose to go that route. Like all of things, like look up and see the fluffy clouds, look and see this, look and see that, because there's so much more to life, but you can't when people are in that state. But it's what you want to say, isn't it? So it says it all, and hopefully, and everybody tells me they love it and they're happy when they listen to it. So if that just does the right thing, I'm really glad.
we've got a bit of Maltese culture on
You
there.
have,
Oh,
that's
we
yours,
have,
Ollie.
yes.
Go on.
Yeah, I had to.
Of course, there's.
I had to teach Neil and Faye how to say Salah
Ha.
Atradem,
Ha. Ha.
which means the last drop of blood. Basically, that's about, you see, being growing up in Malta, we were always told that, you know, everybody that invaded Malta, we were very subservient. We were fishermen, we were farmers. But actually, about 15 years ago, there's a young historian found a load of ledgers and papers that had been stored in an auberge in Valletta in Malta, which documented all the corsairing, all the Maltese corsairs. And basically, this was this T-shirt is actually Furban. Furban is a corsair, and basically they're the most feared corsairs in the Mediterranean, and that's what that song's about.
Do they all look like you then?
They would have been much smaller than me. But it's a very patriotic song, you know. It's one that has been described as irreverent, but
Not relevant.
Not relevant. but it does go down well, and it is really funny hearing British people singing Salah Atradem. Yeah, I found out, and I don't know if the person's watching, that somebody calls it the salad song.
That's so
Salad
funny.
song, because it's Salah.
That's right.
Right.
But-
Okay.
Which old ones were Spriggan Dance and
Yeah, Spriggan Dance and Spellmaker.
Spellmaker. So one of the re-releases, Spellmaker, we really wanted Faye to sing that because she just does it so much justice. But it is what it is. It's about a spell being made. It's about that whole kind of, you know, build up to it. It's about that kind of whole drumming up the power, releasing a spell, and it kind of really captures that. And Faye really does it justice. She brings it right to the boil, and then Neil takes off with his solo at the end, which
that
is
solo.
that solo. So you know that was really good to get on the album.
It was quite
as
funny
well.
because when he recorded that on the portal, I wasn't there, and Aaron, our son, came home and he was raving about this solo. He said it was like hearing something out of Guns N' Roses, Slash, or something like that. And I was how good could this solo be? Then I heard it and it was good. Don't tell Neil. You won't fit this head in this screen otherwise.
But then there was the fingers. I just had 2 weeks holiday, so my, you know, with the guitaring fingers, they go quite soft, especially swimming in pools and what have you. I was actually in the West in Florida. So 2 weeks of not playing guitar, going straight into the recording studio, my fingertips were frayed. So there's a video of you.
There is a making of the portal, and I'm actually there healing his fingers. It's quite funny.
On bended knee.
On bended knee, yeah.
Nice.
It's quite a good video, that actually.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, that's going to be a good. Okay, go ahead, Baz.
And of course, the other thing we haven't mentioned about our live show is that it's 7 years and a day ago, one day, these belly dancers turned up at one of our gigs.
Yeah.
Right? And they turned up and they just started dancing. And Trish was one of them. And she was the one that suggested, you know, Trish Marriott, who put a comment up on the screen. And their leader, Mama Jingle herself, Kat Barkley, said, "Oh, I hope you didn't mind us dancing." He said, "Oh, it was really fun." They haven't stopped coming to dance with us. In fact, now they get the set list the same time the band does, and they plan which dancers they dance. And sometimes, if the stage is big enough, they actually come up on the stage, and it adds to the whole show. And I think that was another thing that HRH.
The prog
audience loved, because they dance with swords on their head, and our daughter's part of the. There you go. Trisha's up there. It was. It adds to the whole spectacle.
Yeah. I mean, the other song to mention, of course, on the album is Chalk Horses, which is...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and in fact, that was Faye just saying she was really sorry she couldn't get here. She got held up. So Faye's an ecologist by trade during the daytime, and she does really important things like bat surveys and preserving special little newts and things, doesn't she? I mean,
she's very intelligent, actually.
Yeah, way more intelligent than we are.
But batty as hell.
But batty as hell, yeah. And she, you know, she's saying that she was really sad she can't be here with us tonight. But yeah, her song Chalk Horses was written, she said, when she went to visit, didn't she,
Yeah.
Avebury, and
Huffington Horse as
it was
well.
it's about kind of the chalk horses and the Huffington Horse and all of the kind of feel of Avebury when she was there in ceremony. So it's quite a nice spiritual song as well.
It was written way back in 2011.
Yeah.
Wow, nice. Okay, want to say good afternoon. Welcome to Patricia, who is also joining us. She's a good friend of mine. She's also been the PR manager for Iowa Pagan News, so I'm happy to have her on board this afternoon. And this is going to be a good lead in to the next video that we're going to be playing. Is actually Spellmaker.
Ah, all right. Great.
This is going to be the live version.
Great stuff.
Standing in the darkness full of hope and thoughts, watching sunlight bring a brand new dawn, working at night, surrounding mystery, the earthly magic and the beauty of wonderland. Heartbeats join in the drummer's bang, the drums of life and the beating stang, the chants of words carrying power, bringing life to magic night, a budding flower. Take yourself into a clearing place where the fire burns and lights up the face of an aging priestess, a mother throne, great with knowledge and purpose unknown. Heartbeats join in the drummer's bang, the drums of life and the beating stang, the chants of the words adding power, bringing a life to magic night, a budding flower. Drumming up the power to linger through, using language lost and now unknown, a magical spell, it's her secret, this old lady is never alone. Heartbeats join and the drummers bang, the drums of the life and the beating stang, the chants of the words adding power, bringing a light to magic night, a budding flower.
Drumming the power.
In the clearing land of fire,
Drumming the power.
in the darkest of the hour,
Drumming the power. Drumming the power.
the energy gets higher
Drumming the power.
and higher and
Drumming the
higher.
power.
The universal power.
Drumming the power.
Heartbeats join and the drummers bang, the drums of life and the beating stang, the silent mother and the crow. The ladies circle in the night. Make your magic known. Heartbeats join and the drummers bang. The drums of life and the beating stag. The chants of the words adding power, bringing life to magic light, a bloody flower.
Mr. Neil White and that solo.
Well, right about the one thing, that guitar solo was killer.
Thank you. Thanks very much, John.
And I gotta tell you, Baz, yeah, you playing guitar like that, yeah, that reminds me of old Slash.
Thank you.
Okay, so now I know that your latest album just came out. Now, as I say, do you have any current projects that you're working on right now?
Oh, well, we've kind of decided that for the next sort of things we're going to be doing, next music, new music, we're going to work more collaborated,
yeah.
collaboratively, yeah. Because we write very differently. Okay, so Max and Neil write very proggy stuff.
Mhm.
I think personally, they write the intelligent stuff. You know, all the syncopated, all the flashy chords and that. I write simple earworms that don't get out of your head. Okay.
And which are some of our most popular songs, Baz?
Yeah, and then Faye is obviously got a very folk background.
Yeah.
I mean, she's got a whole library of her own solo stuff as Faye.
Yeah.
Colin, our drummer, Colin just goes with it, doesn't he? Really?
Yeah.
He would go.
He's a rock and roller.
He's a rock and roller at heart.
He loves his rock and roll.
But I think
And his prog. He likes his prog.
he does like his prog. I think it will be very interesting for us, and we have already started, haven't we, on a song where it started on a very, very simple thing that Maxine put forward. Neil added something, I added something, and we're really working as a collaboration for the next set of songs. And we're also toying with the idea of how we release songs as well, because obviously we've done the album. Now we're able to get in the studio together. We've got a studio, say, at home. We can release things a little bit quicker. So we're thinking of maybe going down the lines of, and I'm sure you're a bit old school, else don't shoot me here. Okay, so we are still going to do albums, but I think we're going to start releasing odd songs or odd 2 or 3 songs And then when we have, if you like, an amount
Critical
of songs,
mass.
maybe do a slight remix or add them to an album, or maybe keep some back to be on an album. So we'll still do albums. I think we always will. But I think we do need to get with the modern way of doing things, and you know, like it or dislike it, streaming is here. Most people you will play one song and put it on a playlist. Isambard the Mechanical Dragon only today has just been included on Graham Steele's Music Club playlist. It's been included on Wokingham festival ones, but I think yes, Music Club. So we have to embrace that, and I think we will be looking at maybe releasing ones and twos as well as. But I think the main thing is collaboration, and we've had a lot of fun with it, haven't we?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I brought a really short tune to the band that I'd kind of got in my head, and it's already been created into quite a nice song, isn't it? And we're kind of almost there, you know. So I don't think it'd be very long before you see a lot more stuff coming out from us on a more regular basis, and I think that's kind of a good thing, because it's really difficult. I mean, I don't know how other people find it, but I find it so difficult to move on to another song when you've still got that earworm going around your head and you haven't kind of laid down the tracks and got it, you know, got it out. So it'll be really good.
And this one here has got some solo stuff that he needs to release, because it is bloody good. And he needs to release it, and we're going to get him in an arm lock and thrash him until he does it. Yeah,
I can fully understand the way that you're wanting to do things, because all the artists that I know over here, that is pretty much the way that they have been doing things lately, is releasing 1 or 2 tracks at a time. And so that it's just simple songs that they've come up with, that they've written, but have not gone on an album, so to say. So they just release them as singles, and it works out very well.
Oh yeah,
I think that's the modern way now. A lot of people don't seem to listen to albums as, you know. When I bought an album, I listened to it from track 1 to track 10, and you listen to it in that order. Nowadays, people choose how they want to listen to a song, and then they put it on shuffle. So all that time you spent trying to decide how the tracks will go into each other, you got it on shuffle because you want your favourites on, or so it doesn't really matter. So I think that's probably the better way, is just to release them in singles and let people add their own lists to the songs that they like from each artist.
But we still do honor our fans that like the CD. I think that's why eventually we will CD, because some people really like to have that physical thing.
Oh yeah,
other CD players and still do sit down and listen through.
And I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
And it's one of the reasons we included the live version of Spriggan Dance on the CD and doesn't appear on the streams, because it's just to reward's a wrong word, but it's just
it's to give something special.
So if you've got the CD, you've got something a bit special. And obviously the pre-orders as well. We see, the other thing we do is we do Spriggan Times, say about once a week or whenever I can be bothered. I do like a spoof newspaper with news like Faye being incredibly bad at cooking and burning everything. And she puts some hilarious stuff up sometimes on her Facebook.
A rich seam of stories.
So I put it up and create Spriggan Times. Now for the CD, for those that pre-ordered, we created a limited edition Spriggan Times with the story of Isambard, the story of the Gold Crusty Shop, and on the back all the lyrics to the new songs. So to give those people that like the sort of the old album experience of looking at the fluff, if you like, or the bump that comes with it. So we did that, but that was quite fun.
Cool. I will definitely be sure to pick up a CD from your website. That way I can add that to the collection here. And because now that, well, believe it or not, we've got a couple of artists over here who have also made vinyl albums as well.
So expensive, though.
Yeah, I know.
It would be nice to have the gatefold, I must admit.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad that I had, let's see, what was it? A couple of years back, I had actually wound up purchasing a turntable, and not knowing that here vinyl is making a big comeback.
Big
Oh, yeah.
comeback. Here's
Yeah.
two. Yeah, here too.
I've still got my original one, and I've got a huge cupboard, much to my wife's chagrin, of my old records going way back, further back than I'd like to admit.
Is it a gramophone, Neil?
Yes, it's right. It's got a big trumpet on it, mate.
Big trumpet, and you've got a little dog that sits next
I
to it.
have, yeah.
Nice. Okay, now I've been posting up your links here. We've got your Facebook page that
Thank you.
I've been putting up, and as well as the main website, sprigganmist.com, where they can go and find a bunch of yours. They can get to know you. They can get to know your music, and then also the Spotify link, so that people can go and get the new album as well.
Brilliant.
So,
Thank you so
now,
much.
what have you have coming up on your schedule?
Ooh, well, the next one's Rokefest.
Yeah.
Rokefest is it's a smaller festival. That's the 29th this month. We played there a couple of years ago. They raise money. It's a completely free to enter festival, but they work on donations. And I think they raised something like £17,000.
Yeah, it's big money.
For it was Mind, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was,
mental
A mental
health.
health charity.
and a lot of local bands are playing at that one. And generally, it's covers and tribute bands. But we played there a couple of years ago, and it was one of them, wasn't it, where we turned up defiled from our band bus, dressed as we are, and we got looked at very sort of like, what the hell is this?
So it was full on steampunk. And we're going to do that again this year because I think they expect it.
And after about the second or third song, they warmed to us, and the dancers were out there, and they've asked us back.
Yeah,
so we were really pleased to do that one. And then in June, we've got Cambridge Rock Festival,
which came out of HRH.
Which came out of HRH Prague, which we were really
sort of recent and very
Yeah.
quick
Yeah, definitely.
benefit.
Nice.
Amazing.
So Focus are on that, aren't they?
Focus
as well?
again, yeah.
And in July, we've got Fancy Forest.
Fancy
Yeah.
Forest, amazing festival.
That is incredible.
It is
If you
incredible.
can never get over to go to that one, you just love it.
So that's a whole weekend of literally everything from, it's 2 lots of stages, it's reenactors, it's
there's about 3 or
just
4
you
stages.
name it,
And they've got an orc boot camp.
And
And
they've
these
got
people
orcs.
look like the orcs from the film.
Witches.
Incredible.
They've got a whole steampunk area this year.
Daleks,
Knights.
It's set in the grounds of an ancient castle where Catherine Howard, the final wife of Henry VIII, lived. So it's just amazing. Got so much going for
It's
it.
really well run. I personally, I think it's the best festival in the UK. I mean, I'm sorry
definitely.
to the other festivals. There's some wonderful festivals, but that I think it's amazing. And the people that run it are just so
Superb,
lovely,
yeah.
superb, really are. So
Very
if you're
good.
listening, we plugged it like mad, all right? No, it's
Cool.
well pluggable though. It is a really
It's
good
definitely
festival.
worth it.
Cool. Okay, gang. I want to thank you for taking time out to join me this evening.
Thank you for having us. It's brilliant.
Oh yeah, this has been fun. I'm glad I have the time to get to know the 3 of you, and I look forward to hearing more from you. And hopefully, one of these days, maybe our paths will cross.
That would
Definitely
be really
lovely.
great.
We're always willing to come and tour the
Yes,
US.
yeah, quite happy.
Just putting that out there. You okay?
I think you would enjoy going on tour over here. I really do.
Awesome. It would be really good.
Would you come to
Okay.
that one, Anna? Yes.
Oh, you'd come to that one, would you?
Cool.
Yeah,
Take care.
we love the US. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been listening to another edition of Iowa Pagan News on the Prairie Land Radio Network with our special guest, Spriggan Mist. And be sure to check out their new album on their Spotify. Be sure they've also got a Bandcamp page. They've got Instagram, and they've got their Facebook page as well, so that you can get in contact with them and to find out where they're going to be at on tour. And in the meantime, if you have questions for me here at Iowa Pagan News, you can get through to me at earl@iapnradio.net. Have a great day, everyone. And I've got more to come later this week, so stay tuned for more from Iowa Pagan News. Have a great day, everyone. We are going to be out of here.
Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. All shows are recorded and available for download at plrdn.podbean.com. All rights are reserved and may not be replayed without written permission by IAPN Radio Management. Come join us at our new group, IAPN Radio on Facebook, where you can be kept up to date for future broadcasts. Pleasant journeys, everyone.
I absolutely